Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, my name is DJ, doing what I do, sitting back here and chilling. And my last video, I did a video on Krav Maga, and I was talking about what is Krav Maga exactly, okay? Like, what is Krav Maga all about? I was going to do a video on what Krav Maga is not about. That was supposed to be my next video, but I think I'm gonna do this video instead. This video is why I got into Krav Maga. A lot of people ask me when they first come in to the school here, CDK, they say, man, why do you get into Krav Maga? So I'm gonna give you my top 3 reasons. I might even give you 4, but I'm gonna give you definitely my top 3 reasons on why I got into Krav Maga. And it really wasn't about self-defense. Well, somewhat. I'm gonna say the third one for last. The third one was somewhat about self-defense, but for the most part, when I got into Krav Maga, it wasn't really about self-defense. Okay. Let me tell you why it wasn't really about self-defense. I've been doing Krav Maga now a long time. And shoot, I guess I done lost track of time. Really, I 20 years maybe. Close to 20 years. By the time I had started Krav Maga, I had already boxed. Okay, I was an amateur boxer. I was a first degree black belt in Taekwondo. I was a red belt in Hapkido. I had had my share of altercations. So I knew how to defend myself, more or less. Okay, I always say it's always somebody better than you. So I knew how to defend myself when I got into Krav Maga. And I was teaching. I was already teaching. I was teaching some dudes in the neighborhood, how to box. I was teaching Taekwondo, so it wasn't really just about self-defense for me, okay? So here's the 3 reasons. All right, I'm going to give them to you 1, 2, 3. And this is in order, okay? The first reason that I got into Krav Maga was I was looking for something at the time that was more adult-based. It was more adults. Look, I was a Taekwondo instructor. All of my students was young. When I say young, they was like, I would say young, under 15, but there was probably more like under 12. Man, I was so tired of teaching the little drag. Every Taekwondo school, Kung Fu school, traditional, martial arts school, they got the little dragons, the little tigers, the little eagles. There's always the little something, and they like 4, 5, 6, sometimes even younger. And I always got the little dragons. The class ain't even that long. It's probably maybe 30 minutes because it's hard to keep 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds, interested for more than 30 minutes. And they're pretty much just running around. You get them doing exercise, then they go, ayah, and then they do another exercise, and then they go, ayah. It was tiresome. And I didn't really feel like it was really a self-defense. I didn't even really think it was like Taekwondo. I felt like it was a daycare. I feel like most Taekwondo schools, I don't want to just say Taekwondo, all the traditional schools, they got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. It's pretty much daycares. The parents drop their kids off because they need something for them to do to get rid of some of that energy, and they drop them off at these, schools. They look cute in their uniform and stuff like that. When they get around 12, 13, 14, 15, they kind of get more into the art and the fighting and part and stuff like that, which is why I don't teach no more until they get to 12, 13, 14, 15, And I was looking for something that was more adult-based. Man, I'll never forget, I walked into my first crowd. I was actually leaving my black belt test, believe it or not. I was doing my black belt test in Chundaquan, Taekwondo. I was leaving my black belt test because we had some adults at our school, but I was teaching most of the kids. But I was leaving my black belt test, and I'm driving down the street, and I saw this school, Krav Maga school. I had read about Krav Maga, I had heard about Krav Maga, but I didn't know it was one in the area, And I saw the school. I said, "Damn, what's going on over there?" I saw a lot of cars. I pulled over, limped on in the school. I just finished my black belt test. And when I got into the school, I saw like 50 adults on the floor. I had never seen 50 adults on the floor before at any other than like a tournament. I've never seen 50 adults in a school. So I came to the guy that I said, "Hey man, I know you got a lot of adults. When do you do your kids?" He looked at me like, "Kids? No, we don't do no kids here." I said, "You don't have a kid program?" He said, "Nah, man, we don't do a kid. We started 18." I said, "Okay, sign me up." And that's how I started. I didn't even join there, but that's how I started Krav Maga, because I wanted to do something for adults. Once I got into it, fell in love with the principles and all that type of stuff I talked about the last video. But that's how I got into Krav. I was looking for something that adults did and not something that kids do. Okay? So that was my first reason for starting Krav Maga. My second reason for starting Krav Maga is the conditioning. Okay? Usually at self-defense schools, okay, there's no conditioning. Straight up, there's no conditioning. Now, I ain't talking about Krav Maga schools. Your regular self-defense schools, they teaching the techniques, but ain't no conditioning involved, okay? I didn't to this day, when I go to workshops all across the country, because I always want to know what other people are doing. And I go into their workshops and they teaching, what if somebody do it? They grab you and all this type of stuff. Ain't nobody in shape. Nobody. Sometimes their warm up, they don't even do like calisthenics in their warm up because everybody gonna be too tired. Okay, nobody's in shape. All right, it's all about just doing a technique or two. Well, number one, I don't like that because I think you need to be in shape to defend yourself, because if the fight go over 15, 20 seconds, you're going to fall out. I don't care how sharp you are, But nobody's in shape at these, just self-defense schools. But these Krav Maga dudes was doing it, okay? Like I said, I watched some of the workshop. They running all the way up and down the floor. Then they get tired, and then they got to do a technique. Then they run up and down the floor. Then they get tired, and then they got to get out of a choke or a bear hug. And I was like, man, these guys, and girls, because it was both men and women, they are conditioning, and I love that. I like to push myself, cardio wise, but I hate doing cardio. I do cardio, but I hate doing cardio. So if I'm doing cardio, it's got to be in a way where I ain't thinking about me doing cardio. Okay. So that was the second reason that I started. The first was I wanted something to be around more adults. And I'm a teacher, so I wanted to teach more adults, and I wanted conditioning. Okay. That good conditioning. Okay. So the third reason was a little around self-defense, okay? Like I said, I used to box, did Hapkido, did Taekwondo, okay? And I got into my set of altercations. Only time I've had problems when I got into altercations was when they was bigger than me and they grabbed me. If you like a security or some shit like that, I ain't gonna get into stuff I used to get into, but they grabbed me. Anytime somebody grabbed me and started wrestling me and stuff like that, I ain't had no answers. So I said, man, I got to do something about this, man. I need to be able to deal with bigger and stronger opponents, okay? So bigger and stronger guys always gave me difficulty, because once they got past, that, if I even got that, I had a problem, okay? So I knew what jiu-jitsu was, and at the time, I had no interest in rolling around the floor with no whole bunch of dudes. I just didn't. I ain't want to do it. I ain't want to. Now it was crazy. I do it now, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be rolling around the floor all sweaty, and I didn't want to do all that. I even when I was coming up, wrestling didn't appeal to me. I wanted to box. I wanted to do my footwork. I ain't like all that. So I didn't want to get into that. But Krav Maga, I noticed when I was talking to the person, they dealt with bigger opponents. You know, what happens if somebody gets you on the ground? What has somebody grab you that's bigger and stronger than you? And I said, okay, yeah, that's what I want. And I ain't want to do jujitsu, okay? And they said they had a bit of ground fighting and stuff in their system. And I wanted to get into that, okay? So those were the 3 reasons I started doing it. I started doing it because I wanted to be around more adults. I wanted conditioning. And at the time, I didn't really want to do any wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And Krav Maga was the answer. Really, to be honest, it's the best thing I ever did. Now I got my own school, doing great, and training hard. All right. Oh man, I went 30 seconds over. I'm trying to keep these videos under 10 minutes. I got to keep them under 10 minutes, guys. All right. So look, I'm gonna do another video on what Krav Maga is not, coming up. But for right now, man, hey, like, comment, subscribe. And for those who's doing Krav Maga, because this is for my students in other schools, including mine, for those who's doing Krav Maga, put down in the comments why you started doing Krav Maga. All right? Interested to know. All right? Peace. I'm out.